For those who don't know, Mario Kart 8 was my very personal favorite game of the year from 2014. It was very fun and very enjoyable, especially with friends and family. And taking off my Mario Kart 64 nostalgia goggles, I would say that this is the best Mario Kart we've seen so far. And because of the high praise that the game got, I'm pretty sure that many of you have heard of the DLC before. But in case it has gone over your head for whatever reason, please note that Mario Kart has only gotten better with expansion. And although the first pack of DLC released back in November of 2014, the second half was just released a few weeks ago, so I figured why not talk about how great it is. For this little review sort of thing, I'm going to be talking about just the tracks for the DLC, since that's the real meat of the package here. And speaking of, I'm also going to be excluding the retro tracks, since those are stuff we've already seen before. I'm not going to say anything more on this subject, but I wish they would have had a little bit more diversity with which tracks they chose, especially since we've seen the likes of Rainbow Road, Baby Park, and Yoshi's Circuit for the third time now. So the first track on the lineup is the Excitebike Arena, and a lot of people didn't really like this track when it first came out, and I think it's gotten a little bit more respect now, and there's a school bus. But I actually really always liked this track. Excitebike is kind of one of my favorite games on the NES, despite how simple it is, and I honestly love how they translated it into an HD setting here. The track is always randomized each time you play through it, so different bumps will appear at different locations, and that's really what sells me on the track, because it makes it very replayable, as if the Mario Kart tracks weren't already replayable enough. So it's kind of interesting to see how the track will vary from your different playthroughs of the map, and besides, you cannot tell me that pulling off like a 5-trick combo in a row is not satisfying. The next course is Dragon Driftway, and I also really like this one a lot. This course has a lot of sharp turns on it, so you're going to have to really pay attention and use your drifts wisely if you want to see your way to the end of the map. I also really like the music on this course. It's very Asian inspired, which, in case wasn't obvious, and I just think that it's an overall great track to race on. It's pretty much anti-gravity the whole way through, so go bump into other people, ram them into walls, and have a great time. This one is definitely one of the better ones of the first DLC pack. But the best course, the very highlight of the DLC, or at least in my opinion, is Mute City. And this is basically an F-Zero fan's dream. I'm not necessarily an F-Zero fan myself, I've only ever played the Super Nintendo game before, but this is just fan service city right here. Of course you have the well done remix of the Mute City theme playing in the background. You have the coin pads on the sides of the courses where you can refill your coin count. And of course there's the Captain Falcon sign saying, "Show me your moves." Frickin' come on. And this course only gets better at higher speeds because it feels like that's just what it was meant to be played on. Next up is Ice Ice Outpost. This is another one that a lot of people really didn't like, and honestly, I don't understand why. It's not really the most aesthetically pleasing track to look at. It's very barren in terms of that aspect, but I thought the actual course design was really fun. It essentially plays on 2 tracks all the way through, each one at a higher or lower elevation depending on where you're standing. You can switch between these 2 tracks at almost any given time, and I thought that aspect was really fun. It is a shorter track, and there's not really a whole lot of anti-gravity or shortcuts or anything of that nature, but honestly, I thought that this was a really fun track to play on nonetheless. And if you know anything about me as a person, you know that I'm a Zelda fan at heart. So, of course, with the Hyrule Circuit track, I can only describe it as simply alright. It matches the aesthetic of Hyrule very well, changing the coins to rupees, the piranha plants to nikobabas, and the bats, swoopers, to Kisi. But other than that, I just felt it was kind of bland. It was very generic Hyrule. It wasn't tacked on to any one particular Zelda game. Instead, it felt kind of a little unmemorable to me in that aspect. It's still a very fun track to play on, but I wish there was more Zelda about it, if that makes any sense. And now we come to the second pack of DLC, and the first original course is Wild Woods. Now this course is absolutely gorgeous. The forest setting is amazing. The fact that you start out on anti-gravity, heading up a wall, that is a very amazing thing to do. But other than that, I thought it was just a pretty standard track. There wasn't really a whole lot that grabbed my attention with the course design itself. I think the most memorable part of the course is when you're racing down that hollowed out tree log and there's water rushing down and you can race inside that. But other than that, I kind of had a hard time trying to think of anything to really describe the course with. It was just kind of another generic course to me. Still very fun to play on, but it's alright. And of course we have the feature Animal Crossing course, which I absolutely love. It's a lot better of a representation of the Animal Crossing franchise than what Zelda had to offer in the first DLC pack. Of course there's the fruit on the ground that can give you a bit of a speed boost, the balloons holding up the item boxes in the air, much like the presents, and of course there's the various villagers cheering you on around the map. Even as someone who's not really too big on Animal Crossing and has only played half the games, I think that they really represented the track well, and it's very easy to appreciate. But the best part about this course is that you can race it in 4 different seasons: the summer, spring, fall, and winter. Although maybe it's just the number generators playing tricks on me, but I think that it has a bias towards spring and summer. I've only ever played on winter maybe twice, and I still haven't played on fall yet. Like, come on, fall. What's your deal? And next in the lineup we have Super Bell's Subway, and I thought that this was just an alright track as well. I like the idea that it takes place in a subway station and you actually ride on the tracks, but I thought that the course design itself was a little bit, not underdeveloped, but just a little bit underthought, if that makes sense, and it probably doesn't. It has a lot of sharp turns, and it seems like you're moving really fast, and it doesn't help that you have to avoid subway cars just rushing at you. It's kind of a very stressful track to play on, if you ask me. I thought it was a really interesting idea and concept, but when I play it, I just kind of get a little bit bored. I filmed this segment in particular on a different day because I didn't like how it turned out the first time, and I didn't realize it till later. So, you know what? Screw it. This broke the pace of the video, I'm sorry. And the last course in the pack is Big Blue. And much like how I thought of Mute City, Big Blue is awesome! Big Blue and Mute City, they're like on par with each other. I love them both equally, if not, I don't even know, but I like them a lot, and they're great, and they're awesome, and stuff. I don't know where I'm going with this. But unlike Mute City, Big Blue is one of those long, stretched out, 3 segmented courses instead of 3 length course or 3 lap courses. And I don't necessarily like that more, but it kind of like gives you more things to see and it makes it just more interesting as a result, and I really like that. And much like Mute City, Big Blue is awesome on higher speeds. It makes the action feel more intense, and although the turns are a little tight even for drifting, you just feel so satisfied if you pull them off, and even if you like fall down, it's just fun. I love this track a lot. And the music is just if someone came down and said, hey, you like good music? Here you go. I don't know how else to describe it. Big Blue is just freaking so much fun. It's got great music, got great saxophone. I really just don't know how to describe Big Blue. Much like how Wild Woods has the water rushing down the log that you can ride, there's like a whole segment similar to that. I think it's a lot more fun in Big Blue than it is in Wild Woods, just because it's more memorable to me. But there's also a lot more boosting pads, a lot more just conveyor belts, and although there's not like coins you can actually pick up along the track, there are still the coin pads that you can ride along, similar to how it works in F-Zero and Mute City from the other DLC pack. I think I might like Mute City a little bit more as a track, but Big Blue is awesome. It's one of the highlights of the DLC pack, along with the Animal Crossing course. Both are so great, and the music is amazing, and you should love it forever. So overall, what's the verdict with the Mario Kart DLCs? Well, they're very, very enjoyable. There wasn't a single course in either pack that I really disliked. There were ones that I thought were alright, but I wasn't necessarily completely bored when playing on them. Not to mention these tracks are highly replayable and fun each time you play them. You can't really go wrong with picking either one of the packs, but if I had to make a recommendation, I would go with the first one. I just felt that the first DLC pack had more original, interesting tracks to offer than the second one did. So that's where I'd go with, and besides, frickin' Zelda fanboy, also Doctor Who. Third pack DLC, Doctor Who, confirm it Nintendo. But of course, you can't really go wrong with either one of them, and many people will tell you that the second one's better, and I can't really disagree with that statement either. Or you could just get both. I mean, they'd both be cheaper than a freaking standard Call of Duty expansion pack. More fun than a standard Call of Duty expansion pack. There you go. Decisions made, kids. Good night. But as always, thank you so much for watching the video all the way to the end. I really appreciate the time that you guys take to watch these videos. So make sure to have a good life, and remember to get those bananas out of your ears. I'll see you all next time.